but Jim lived in a time when it was more open. As a matter of fact, that it was just a matter of, yeah, you guys quit doing that, get out of here. End of story. Back in those days. But in the 80s, we let the girls know what we were doing. And the girls are rough. I say that. I'm talking about the humaniacs. That's how I could describe that. The humaniacs. They endorse two men getting into the ring doing the same thing that two dogs would do. But it's legal for two men to do it because they got to pay a fee to get a license. So that makes a lucrative market for those that's trying to stop what's going on. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
I mean,
go ahead.
yeah, that's it's not something they're gonna ever stop. It's a sport. And men have been sporting like that for centuries. And they can't stop that. But they're still trying. I'll say, yeah, they're trying to do so. But I'll tell you something, what has happened, and it's not good, without having show news, accurate show news, it affects the breed because you don't know what's real and what's fictitious. Because of the fact that we got so many people out here that are peddling pedigrees. Pedigrees don't scratch. So that's what that is. Where was I?
You,
Oh, the pedigree.
yeah, you saying the pedigrees don't
Pedigrees
scratch.
don't scratch. So, the dog makes the pedigree. So everybody's worried about what line, what bloodline, whatever. You create your own bloodline. And I say that meaning that breed your own dogs the way you want them bred. And you don't have to worry about a particular line because you've bred your own dog and you know what's in there. Now, if you breed something and you got a family of dogs and they're winning, then you should continue to use that. That dog may be somebody never heard of, could be a cur, but he might be the one that's throwing the fire in your dogs. So I say that, see, I have, all I have left of my family of dogs are straws off of one last stud dog I had. And I'll say that because that's my batter. That's my cup of soup that I've created for myself.
Yeah.
And over the years, all people always ask me, what line am I using? What line? I'm using what I bred. I bred my own dogs, and all I can tell them is how I started. And I started with Thunderball, who I told you was staff. He's a staff. Can I say? But the bottom side of his staff blood, I can identify as Tacoma. And I bred Thunderball to a pure Mayfield bitch, Dabo, and I got good results. So uh, I say all of that just to say, guys, if you got something that you like, then continue to breed what you like. It's not about the pedigree. It's about the word of the man that made out the pedigree. So that, yeah, it's breed your own. And
Eh,
your word is your bond in the game, period. You know, that pedigree is based upon your word.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's only what you say. If you register it, it's only based on what you put on the pedigree. So, you know, you want to make a pretty pedigree and have an unproven dog, then good luck. But I don't. I've never done it that way. And if I were able today, I would have a dog, but I'm unable to have a dog. I don't. You know, I don't have the help enough to have a dog. So
And the fraternity, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a large amount of people are doing exactly the opposite of what you said as far as going off pedigrees. You know, a pretty pedigree is what they're looking for. If you can be the most honest dog man out there, and you can have some of the best bulldogs it is, but if you're not, and you can be one of the most trustworthy people out there as well, but if you don't got that pretty fancy pedigree and maybe some of the more well-known dog men from back in the days, some of the older dog men, a lot of the older dog men from back in the days that still float around, they word ain't they bond. The word ain't bond. You know, you can't really. They going off of just because they old schoolers. You know,
yeah,
and
that,
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. It's not. It's not. It's almost exactly the opposite of what you said you need to be looking for.
yeah, that's and that's what it is. People are, you know, that's the first. What line are you using? You know, I'm using my line. I'm using. That's what I'm proud of. Though I've had shown many dogs that were not of my line,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I've used the ones that I bred myself, and I was proud of them. Yeah, I do. I have to pat myself on the back for the ones I bred myself and was able to show them back in the day. That yeah, I've shown dogs for other people, true enough. But the real glory of it was showing one of my own dogs and going out and winning with that dog. That's a good feeling.